Welcome to Unit 1, Level 3 video notes, where we will still solve routine 2 or 3-step arithmetic problems involving concepts that involve proportions. But we're not only just focusing on the skill, it might require us to do other skills as well. Our first example is a scale drawing of a house where it's drawn as a ratio, so that's a comparison of two things, where it's 1 inch equal to 1 foot. Well, a ratio can be written as a fraction. So a ½ inch is equal to 1 foot. That's a rate, saying a ½ inch in the drawing for every 1 foot of the house, or 1 foot of the house represents a ½ inch in the scale drawing. So I can use this equal sign as two fractions, whatever one you choose. Now, if the scale length of a wall in the drawing is 6 3/4 inches, so that's my scale, which is inches, how long is the full-size wall? So that's my actual. So I have my scale drawing to my actual dimensions of the house. So let's keep our proportion, same label, same level. I'm going to do drawing to house. So the given ratio is a ½ inch for every 1 foot. ½ inch on the drawing represents 1 foot of the house. Now, I know that the scale length is 6 3/4 inches. Well, that's my drawing. And I need to know how long is my actual wall, which is X amount of feet. Now, a ½ inch, that's easy decimal conversion, so is 3/4. The next one I'll review how to do the fractions. So a ½ inch, if I do 1 divided by 2, I get 0.5. That'll be easier to use than a half. Over 1 foot equals 6 3/4. Well, I know I have 6 holes, so what is 3/4 as a decimal? Do 3 divided by 4 and you get 0.75. So 6 3/4 is really 6 3/4 or 6.75. And we need to have our unknown as x then. Let's cross multiply. So 0.5 times x is 0.5. And 1 times 6.75 is 6.75. So there's our cross multiplying and our cross products. Now undo multiplication with division. So I'm going to divide by 0.5, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So x is 13.5. And that is our actual drawing of the house, so 13.5 feet. This example isn't too bad because it says solve the proportion and round your answer to the nearest tenth. That won't be too shabby. Now, putting it in as a fraction, that's a different story, so I'm going to review both ways. Let's first talk about the nearest tenth. That means I can change this to a decimal. So I have 6 on top divided by 5 2/3. Well, I know I have 5 holes. Now do 2 divided by 3. That's 0.66666. It repeats forever and ever. So I'm going to write 5.66666. I'm going to do it quite a few times just so I'm accurate. I don't round to the nearest tenth until the very end. Now, 7 over y, that stays the same. All right, let's cross multiply. 5.6 repeating times 7 is 39.6 repeating. So I'm going to write that out for quite a ways. And that's equal to my other product, 6 times y, which is still 6y. Now to undo multiplication, I'm going to divide by 6 to each side. And my final answer is 6.611111, and that's repeating. All right, since it says round to the nearest tenth, here's my 10th position. So instead of adding those ones, I'm going to cut it off right there. So y is equal to 6.6, and that is rounded, not exact. Now we're going to leave it as fractions. So I'm going to enter my final answer as a fraction. So let's start cross multiplying. 6 times y is 6y. And now that's equal to 5 2/3 times 7. All right, so 5 2/3. Well, we have to make this mixed number improper. So we do 5 wholes times 3, which is 15, plus the 2. So really I have 7 times 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17, and you keep your denominator of the 3. To multiply fractions, we go straight across because there's not an equal sign. It's not cross multiplying. It's multiplying straight across. 7 times 17 is 119, and 1 times 3 is 3. And that 119 over 3 could also become 39 2/3, where you have to hit the second key and that ABC key again. And that's going to change it from a mixed number to an improper. And that's what that one is. All right, now to undo multiplication, multiplying by 6, I'm going to divide by 6. So this is really 119 over 3 divided by 6. And we don't divide by fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So the 119 over 3 stays the same. I'm going to times by 1 over 6. And when I do that, I get 119 over 18. Now you can go ahead and plug this in your calculator too. 119, fraction key 3, divided by 6. You should get something close to this. Now if you don't get that, you'll get the mixed number, and I'll show you that. Which you would do this if you got the mixed number. All right, 119 divided by 18. 119 divided by 18. Mobius will accept this answer, or it will accept the mixed number as well. 18 goes into 119. Well, let's divide it out, and I get 6.61 repeating. So that means that this goes in 6 whole times. Now multiply 18 times 6, and we'll get 108. Subtract it. 9 minus 8 is 1, 1 minus 0 is 1, so my remainder is 11, and 18 doesn't go into 11, so my remainder is 11 out of the original denominator, 18. So Mobius will accept 119 divided by 18, or it'll accept 6 plus 11 over 18. It will not accept 6 in a space 11 18ths. It will not accept that. You need a plus sign with mixed numbers. Keep playing around with that, we'll get it. Our last example, we're going to solve a formula for A, and Mr. Marsh in physics, it's very common, he calls it reconfiguring. It's his own word. All right, so we're going to solve this for A, and that means isolate. Isolate A. We need A equals stuff at the end. Well, when I look at the fraction equals a fraction, that's a proportion, and we solve proportions by cross multiplying. So let's start there. A times P times V. I do not know the answer in numbers to that product, but this is the product of those 3 letters. And that's equal to the product of J times U times Y. So once again, I don't know that number, but I do know that J times U times Y is the product. Now, to solve for A, I need to undo this PV. There's not a plus sign, there's not a subtraction sign, there's not even a times sign, but it's A times the product of PV. So to undo multiplication, I'm going to divide. P divided by P, V divided by V, that's 1, and 1 times A is A. Or if we think about P times V being a product, well, whatever this number is, I'm dividing by the same number, so they cancel out. All right, now whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So on Mobius, you might type in J times U times Y divided by PV. And that's going to be incorrect because it's going to think it's J times U times Y divided by P. And then since this isn't part of that denominator with parentheses, it would then multiply this by V, and technically V over 1. So that's not what our answer looks like. Our answer looks like this. So we need to put parentheses around the denominator there so that it knows that we're dividing by P times V. the product of it. So this is your final answer, and you would put in this part of it into Mobius. Good luck with your level 3 homework.